Okay. Hi. Today I will talk about my ca2 for web framework. First, I'm going to show the demo website and then I'll go into the code itself. So for the demo website, you can get into the login page by typing the /login URL. And if you have a username, which I do here, password, and if you log in successful, you get directed to this page, which is the home page. And in this case, I have two simple examples to show how the framework deal with URLs. So for this one is adding a task. I'll just fill in all the three fields and then I'll go add task. And you can see the URL up here. So this /task manager is the class name that tells the framework that to find this class and use a method called add task in that class to run this with the three parameters that it gave, which is the task name, the start date, and the due date. And to prove that it works, I just output the return Boolean value from the method onto the screen here. So as you can see that. So if there is a method that the user can hand type the whole URL if they want, but if they type in some method that doesn't exist, there's a handler that handles that tells them the method doesn't exist. Same for the class. If they type in some class that don't exist, it will say the class doesn't exist as well. And then after you're done, if you want to log out, you can just log out. Once you log out, the page we just went there is the home page and it can be accessed by /home. If you try to get in there, you won't be able to because a session variable has been set to prevent that. So you have to log in in order for you to access that page. Now for the code part, this is the main servlet. Start off by initializing some templating engine stuff, and then in the process request, we have a property reader that reads in some information from a properties files, in this case info.properties, which a user has to provide in order for the framework to work. And what it contains is the name of the package that the user wish for the framework to read in the classes. In this case, it's the demo. So when the framework runs, it will read in task and task manager. And then when we have the package, we have to find all the classes that are present in that package. So we use this page finder, passing the package name that we have from up here. And then what we do is we get all the classes with a subtype of the interface. Now I have an interface here, which is just blank. Its main purpose is whatever classes that the user wishes for the framework to recognize it. It has to implement that interface because that's the way the server would know which classes to take in. So this code here reads in all the classes that implements the interface class and is from the package named demo. So it will be these two classes, and they're being stored in a set of classes. And then to process the URL, I get the class name from the request.getPathInfo. The class name is whatever that comes after ca2. So in this case, it will be this part. And then for login, I would get the username and password from the URL, and then I do a null check if they're not null. If they're not null, I would get the actual username and the actual password from the user, which they have to provide me in a file called user.properties with these two fields here. And I'll do a comparison between the password that I got from the URL and the password that I got from the file. If they are the same, I'll set three variables in the session. One is username, password, and the other one is a Boolean to check if they're logged in. And then I'll redirect them to the home page. If not, the template will pipe out a message say login failed, and they'll stay in the login page. If the username and the password in the URL is null for some reason, they'll still be redirected to the login page. And for the logout, I removed the Boolean variable that I set previously if the login is successful. So that means I can use this variable to check whenever this variable is not there or is false. That means the user is not logged in. That would give me a way to deny access them to some pages that require login, which in this case is my home page. So this is what I've done here. And for all the other URLs, I start off with a simple check if they're logged in as well. And then I would find the class that I actually want to use. So how would I find it? I find it through the class name that I have up here already and the class set that I have here. I loop through them and find if a class is equals to that name. So if you remember, we have this here, and this is the class name that I want. So if I found it, I set a Boolean variable to true, if not, it's false. If the class is found, I'll get the method that I want to use from the URL. In this case, it's called add task. And then I will check how many parameters that it needs. Once that's done, I'll populate an array of string types because my framework can only handle string types for now. And then I would go find the method with the method name that I got from the URL and the string array that I just populated, and I'll try to get the method back with this get method functions. And just in case there's no such method, I will catch it, and then what I do is I pipe out a message through the templater in the home page. If it is found, I have to get the parameters. At this point, I have no actual values for the parameters, so I have to get them from the URL. And in order to do that, I have to know the names of the URL, of the parameters, I mean. So I get the name from getting the method, from getting the parameters from that method. And once I have the parameters, all of them, I'll loop through them, get the name of them, and then get it from the request URL. Once I have that done, I would just once I have it done, I would create an object of the class. In this case, is the task manager, and I'll get the constructor, create a new instance of it, and then I'll call the method by doing this, passing in the object itself, and then method.invoke object and the actual values. And in this case, I put this in here because I want to pipe out the return value from the method to the home page. Yes, and this else part here just make sure the class exists before trying to access it. If not, it would just tell the user that the class doesn't exist. One important thing to know is the parameters name in the URL have to be exactly the same as the names in the header, the method header. So in this case, add task, you have task name, start date, and due date. Start date, task name, start date, and due date. This is very important because this is the way the server will find the way to get all the values for the parameters. And there's a few more files in here that is easy for. And that's it. Thank you.